Hi, I'm Nate, and this is Devin. We're here to talk about movies today.
We've each compiled a list of our top 10 movies from the past year, and we're going to argue about them now. You ready?
Yes, I am. So let's begin.
What was your number 10?
My number 10 pick was a movie called Love is Strange. Love is Strange is about a pair of elderly gay men who live in New York City. When they elope, one of them loses their job and they're forced to separate. And then the film describes them trying to survive and be fiscally responsible in this new state. For one thing, the performances in this movie are amazing with Alfred Molina and John Lithgow, both playing really great roles. And the director, Ira Sachs, really shoots New York City beautifully with these like poetic angles and uses this classical music score to really just accentuate the beauty of the city in this pure, like, very happy tale, but ultimately is just a very beautiful movie.
My number 10 is completely different. I chose Obvious Child. It's directed by and written by Gillian Robespierre, and it was her first feature, which is why I think it's just remarkable that she made this, and it was a popular choice at Sundance last year. It's about a comedian, a stand-up comedian in New York City who finds out that she's pregnant, and it's entirely different in the way that it's not a tearjerker. I cried watching Nate's pick so hard, and I think that I'm actually surprised you put that as low as 10 because it was fantastic.
Well, I think my problem was I just saw it so late in the game. Like, I saw it on DVD after it came out, like, a week or two ago beforehand. So that kind of didn't put it up as a list of the higher ones, which I actually got to see in theaters. I liked Obvious Child, not enough to put on my top 10 list, but it's definitely an interesting take on the romantic comedy structure.
It is. It's
with, like
I mean, it's still very much a rom-com with the fact that she works at a bookstore, and that's like the most like quirky job that you could have. Also, I did think it was kind of hard to watch at points because it was adapted from a short film, so it was obviously not a play on the title. Trying to fill in time with the whole David Cross.
So it was like Whiplash that was able to fill up the length.
Right, but it didn't do it in a clunky manner like this film did.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
I watched Love is Strange at 4:30 this morning, so it would have been on my list if I hadn't seen it less than 24 hours ago. All right, number 9.
Okay, both our number 9s are actually the same movie, which is Frank. Frank tells the story of a musician played by Michael Fassbender who wears a giant plaster head at all times. And it's also the story of Domhnall Gleeson, who plays almost like Amadeus-type storyline where he sees Frank and he knows he'll never be as talented, yet he still wants to be a part of it, so he latches on. And like a parasite, slowly almost ruins this
He Yoko's
life.
the band.
He Yoko's the band,
right.
Yeah. And it's just like this really quirky tale.
It is, but it's also really haunting, mostly because it's a true story, and you have to wonder, how could someone wear a papier-mâché head at all times? Like, he never takes it off.
Well, it's based on a British musician named, what's his name? Frank Sidebottom is the name of the real-life person, who was, I think it was just a stage persona for him.
Yeah, it was like a dead mouse thing for him, but in the movie, it's like the entire movie he wears the papier-mâché head except for the last 20 minutes. And I think also I was really interested because Domhnall Gleeson is going to be in the next Star Wars franchise.
Yeah.
So I am on the lookout for him.
Well, he also did a really good movie last year called About Time.
Yes,
you saw that.
yes, which Bill Nighy was in that, right?
Bill Nye and Rachel McAdams.
Yeah, I like that.
So he's definitely a talent on the rise, and more people will be aware of him after December of this year.
Yeah. So my number 8 was The Skeleton Twins, which is an indie comedy starring Bill Hader and Kristen Wiig, which are both SNL alums. And they just had amazing chemistry because they worked together on a daily basis already. And then when they did that movie together, it felt very natural that they would play siblings.
Yeah, I got that. My only problem with the movie is it's just too depressing. Like, the entire movie.
You liked Love is Strange.
No, but the problem with it is it just got redundant because it's just Kristen Wiig being
Oh, I
gloomy.
agree. I actually wrote
and
that
Bill
down.
Hader being really gloomy. And
They
then
had too many
argue,
problems. Nobody
and
has
they
that many
argue.
problems. It was the same issue with This Is Where I Leave You. Do you remember that?
This is where Jason, was that the one with Tina Fey and
yeah,
Jason Bateman?
it was like nobody has that many problems, right?
The thing is, like, the character I identified most in the Skeleton Twins was Luke Wilson, just because he was
I liked him a lot.
he was the
in
only
that.
person who was like
Normal,
a good person.
yeah.
Everyone else like
was
had these
horrible, yeah.
weird traits where they're trying to take advantage of someone and they're just self-centered.
Oh, but it was so good.
There's so many suicides. I don't know.
There was one suicide and it was alluded to.
No, there were a lot.
Well,
like,
there were many
they
attempted.
Fine, they
okay.
attempted suicide.
But I thought it was good.
just,
I know it was
ugh.
very French of them to have that many suicides, but I liked it. What was
Yeah,
your number 8?
My number 8 was the documentary, Life Itself, which tells the story of film critic Roger Ebert, which, if you can't tell by the format of the show, we are obviously very much fans of his show, Ebert and Siskel and the movies. But Life Itself kind of takes it further and just kind of shows this inspiring human story of a man who kept persevering and kept reviewing films even after he had his jaw removed and he was in a wheelchair and he couldn't even speak, but he still had a voice, if you know what I'm saying.
I agree. I didn't see it.
Oh.
Or else it probably would have made my list. I wanted to see that, and I wanted to see
Did you see
Citizen
Citizen
4.
4? Oh.
I'm dying to see Citizen 4 for documentaries.
Citizen 4 is going to win the Oscar.
Oh, yeah. I've heard
Like,
so many
it's
great
the only
things
contender.
about it.
Like, no one's going to give an Oscar to Finding Vivian Maier.
No, but
Like, that's,
yeah.
Except, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen any documentaries from the past year, honestly.
Yeah.
What was your number 7?
My number 7 was Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
Okay, I wrote a poem about how much I hated this movie.
Okay, here tell.
All right. This poem is called A Case Against Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, which I watched 2 days ago.
On my Blu-ray edition, I'd like to know.
Yeah, I have to return that to you. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Not one of the humans is great. Who cares about Carrie Russell? This plot really needs to hustle. All looks like a video game. Monkeys are screeching once again. Who should I be rooting for? All of this is such a bore. If I wanted cardboard characters, would have at least picked better actors. Gary Oldman in that crying scene, so badly acted, I'm turning green. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, 170 million down the drain.
Okay, so, offensive. For one thing, that was all about the human acting, which I admit wasn't the best.
Okay,
but
are you
that's-
going to give credit to the CGI
Yes,
monkey
I'm
actors?
giving credit to the CGI monkey actors.
Oh my God,
Andy
this
Serkis.
computer-generated monkey did such a good job.
Well, Andy Serkis did the motion capture for the performance, and
Oh my gosh, I know, he played Gollum, right?
he played Gollum.
Yeah.
He played King Kong in the 2005.
He didn't have to
King
do
Kong.
anything, he just went like...
No.
half the
but
movie.
the performance had such minutia in the animation. and
No,
it's
he
just-
had dead eyes. It creeped me out.
Well, that's a problem with special effects. Which,
Yes.
Frankly,
And
like,
I didn't get why half the set was like CGI'd, okay?
it wasn't.
It was
a
too
lot of it was real.
post-apocalyptic looking.
Well, it's the post-apocalypse.
Yeah, but like,
But like they shot all the motion capture
looked like a
out
video
in
game.
public. Isn't that more a testament to the great graphics we have in video games now? Like
it was
like
just...
I felt it looked good.
I feel like they were making up for the fact that they had a horrible script.
What? Okay.
The person I was watching it with turned to me and said, "You know why Wizard of Oz was so great? It was because there were only like 3 monkeys in it." And I agree. Once you get past that 3rd monkey, it's just too many.
Okay. Okay. But you have to look at it as the structure of Planet of the Apes as a whole. And this film specifically is a remake of the worst Planet of the Apes movie by far, which I should have lent to you as well, because watching it by comparison, this movie looks amazing.
I've seen the original.
The original stands on its own as a testament as
And
one
I
of the
like it.
best sci-fi films of all time. But you have to give this one a little more lenient.
They lost me at James Franco with the last one, okay? I just can't get into it. I'm sorry. But you know, most of my list is like indie comedies anyway.
Most of my list is like weird indie thrillers or dramas, but that doesn't mean you can't still give major Hollywood some attention. I mean, like...
I thought it was boring, and it went on for way too long. I thought the title would be longer than the movie. No, the movie was very long.
The title makes no sense. I give you that. Rise and then Dawn and then what's
That's
next?
confusing for me.
I'm just wondering, what do you think is the best like blockbuster movie of the year? Just
Blockbuster?
like big Hollywood.
I didn't see that
$100
many.
million dollar.
What?
Like I don't know.
Was that your favorite?
It's probably it's the only blockbuster that made my top 10, so I guess by default it would be.
I liked Guardians of the Galaxy mainly because it was written by a woman, and I have some sort of like.
It was kind of not written by a woman though. She wrote the first draft, and then James Gunn completely rewrote it.
Okay, well, it's still a big step forward. Okay, I'm trying.
You didn't see Selma, so.
I didn't see Selma because I know I'm gonna cry really hard in front of a lot of people that I don't know. So, I'm hesitant on Selma. Anyway,
so what was your number 7?
Foxcatcher.
I had that a bit higher up on my list at 5 for me.
I think it started out a lot higher in my list, and then it kind of got moved out of the way. I liked it a lot. My only problem with it was that it felt like half the story was exaggerated.
Well, the problem with films that use based on a true story is that they both are obligated to tell a good story and then tell an accurate story.
Yeah, the same issue happens with every.
Where that comes into conflict.
Yeah.
Like Fargo, which isn't a true story at all. I actually was talking to someone the other day who thought it was a true story, and that was weird.
No.
Like, they purposely make fun of based on a true story just because it's so ridiculous of a marketing tool and a way to carry the story, because of course you have to change it to have a basic Hollywood 3-act structure.
And I thought that distracted me the entire time. That whole gimmick kind of took me out of it because I was like, this seems like it seems exaggerated.
I don't know. There are some, like, did you get by chance watch any of the DuPont farm videos or anything? You can probably find them all on YouTube.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, it's not exaggerated.
Really?
Yeah, he was a really creepy guy.
Well, I believe he was a creepy guy.
No, but like he walked around with a gun, he yelled at people.
More
like,
that Channing Tatum's character, what's his name?
Channing Tatum's character.
I don't think
Mark
anyone's.
Schultz
Is he that stupid? I don't.
I follow him on Facebook.
Oh my
and
gosh.
I've read some of his posts. There was this one period in time, like right after the Oscar nomination came out, where he just went crazy for like one whole day.
I read about that. He was so mad at Bennett Miller, the director
he flipped out and was just like,
no, he didn't
this
write it.
movie
He didn't write
sucks. He didn't write it. D. Ferd or something. I don't
yeah,
remember
Dan Futterman and Max Fry.
Yeah. They're Oscar nominated, I think.
Yeah, which I thought the script was good. I didn't think it was like, I don't know.
My problem with the script is that it because the story has 3 like big actors in it, it tries to give them all major focus.
It does.
So like you're having like for most of the film it's Channing Tatum, and that works because Channing Tatum performs the role well. But then after Channing Tatum's character just kind of leaves at one point, you're awkwardly stuck with Steve Carell's perspective, and then they also try to show Mark Ruffalo's perspective at the same time.
Yeah, and there was a lot of silence in the movie. I think you were the one to say this to me. They used that well, but I don't know. I think I wouldn't give them credit for this great screenplay that was mostly silence.
Well, would you read a screenplay that's like Mark Schultz washes his hands and flushes the toilet? Because that's like what the screenplay would be.
Yes.
Just to read the Foxcatcher script, because I don't think they put it online publicly like they do other scripts. But I feel like a lot of it's just blocks of text describing these like moments where, like, he's sitting and playing a Game Boy, or something random.
And of course, the makeup and hairstyling deserved the
nomination. Win, but it's going to get nominated.
What do you think is going to win?
I think Guardians of the Galaxy is going to win.
Really? Not Grand Budapest?
Not Grand Budapest.
But Tilda Swinton in that. We'll get to that later, but...
I have some thoughts on Grand Budapest.
I love that film. Anyway, so... do you want to say your number 6?
Okay. My number 6 is a film called Inherent Vice, Inherent Vice. I got to see this movie in a preview screening before a lot of the people saw it, although it came out in New York. But Inherent Vice is just this zany 70s Los Angeles film where basically every character smokes weed a lot, and it's this meandering...
That's the entire movie, yes.
The easiest way to describe it is, I wrote this down if any of you read the imprint,
He wrote a great review.
I wrote a review about it. If it comes out, I have no idea if it will. The best way to describe it is The Big Sleep meets The Big Lebowski. Because on one hand, it's this like classic detective story with all these like interconnected webs. And on the other hand, it's this stoner comedy that like Cheech and Chong would make back in the day.
And it's based on the Thomas Pynchon novel, which I'm not going to read.
I've read the book. I read the book after I saw the movie.
I couldn't get through it.
I haven't read any other Thomas Pynchon But from the book, it's a very accurate screenplay. Like,
And I loved the movie. The only reason it's not on my list is because I forgot when I was writing this, so I'll give it an honorable mention. I thought it was fantastic. I love Joaquin Phoenix. So that was perfect for me. He's just in the movie.
Josh Brolin like steals every scene.
Oh, he's so great. Yeah, he's so
just, like,
great.
This dense character who just barrels his way through the scenes.
Yeah. So it was awesome. And Martin Short was in it. Didn't realize
He's in,
that
like,
was
two
gonna.
scenes.
Yeah,
so.
he was great. My number 6 is Nightcrawler. It's a first feature for Dan Gilroy, who's a screenwriter, and I thought it was just wonderfully written, which is why I appreciated it so much. It was tense, but not. It wasn't even that much of a. I thought it'd be more of a thriller, like more car chase scenes, which there were quite a few, but there were also very tense. Dialogue-filled scenes that I thought deserve appreciation because those were almost more exciting than the car chases and murders and stuff.
Yeah, well, I didn't get to see this film until about 2 days ago when Devin said it was on her list, so I decided to see it so I'd be able to inform. And I wasn't blown away with it. Like, my problem with it is I feel it was trying way too hard to be Drive. And Drive is a 2011 film that Nicholas Winding Refn made starring Ryan Gosling.
But
about
Jake Gyllenhaal's
trying.
character is vastly different.
I hate Jake Gyllenhaal, I've realized about this.
Okay.
Like, he does not shut up in the entire movie.
That's the point. His character's intense.
Not intense, but it got to a point with me when it's just annoying, and I was sitting, like, the scene in the Mexican restaurant.
I love that
About
scene.
halfway through that scene, I was just
I
like,
love that
shut
scene.
up, Jake Gyllenhaal. You're going on and on and on, and I get it. You're trying to give this glossy Oscar performance, but it just didn't work for me. It's just...
I like very talky movies, and I thought he did a good job of being that gross, creepy Nightcrawler. Nightcrawlers are cameramen who capture gross footage for morning newscasts, and I thought he was so good at being that psycho, and I think he said himself in an interview that his character would have been successful at anything he did, it wouldn't matter, because he was just so passionate and insane.
Well, he would have ended up, like, murdering everyone in the field and calling.
And that was a big theme for this year. If you look at the movies on our list.
They're all about, like, drive
and egomania and
like the
insanity.
Blood and sweat to get there.
Yeah, and the difference between being great and being crazy. Like,
yeah,
that's
like,
all of these movies. Like Foxcatcher and Frank.
Foxcatcher definitely, and some later higher up ones that.
Yeah. My number 5 was Ida, or Ida, I guess. I'm not sure to pronounce it. I'm not Polish. But it is a Polish film. It was nominated for Best Foreign Picture.
Best Foreign Film, and also Best Cinematography.
Which, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful movie. If you watch it, it's directed and written by Paweł Kowski, and it's just so good.
See, my problem with it is there's a certain stigma surrounding foreign cinema. That's just like, it's this slow, avant-garde thing where someone sits in black and white and drinks a coffee and then says some weird existential stuff. And the movie fell right into that. Like, it's
more than that, though. And I think for what it is a post-Holocaust film, and they talk about that.
Yeah. It doesn't address the Holocaust directly as much. It's more about, like, the social thing.
And it was more about her personal experience, not even being directly connected to it. And it wasn't in your face with that whole World War II thing. I don't know.
I don't know. I didn't like it as much. I'd probably put Force Majeure up there as, like, a better foreign film this year.
Didn't see it, want to so badly.
And even, what's the one? Wild Tales.
Yeah, didn't see that
That
either.
one's also pretty good. Like, Ida's okay. Like, it was on Netflix, and that's how I saw it, and watching films on Netflix is very different from watching it in theaters.
I saw it in theaters. It was kind of hard to watch in theaters because it was so quiet. I felt like I couldn't chew Swedish Fish without annoying everyone around me.
That's what happened with me in Foxcatcher.
That was quiet,
I tried
too.
to open a Subway sandwich, and I got weird looks from people.
Yeah, but a lot of movies quiet this year, except for, of course, like Whiplash. Yeah.
Yeah.
What was your 5?
Okay, my 5 was Foxcatcher, so that was already
Foxcatcher,
saved.
yeah, and what did you like about it?
Foxcatcher, that hasn't already been said by the last thing we said. It's just like this interesting tale of the American dream, and I just like a lot of stories like that. Like, compared up there with, like, There Will Be Blood even, it just kind of, that gritty, realist tone, and it's we didn't even talk about Bennett Miller is like brilliantly directing that movie. Like
Yeah.
the shots and the acting and the score, which I think was disqualified from getting an Oscar nomination.
Why?
I think because they might have used too much popular music or something. I don't know.
I really
There's some
liked
weird,
it.
like Birdman was disqualified for getting nominated.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's this really eerie, dark film, and I just like that sort of film a lot. So.
Yeah, I liked it too. Birdman was my number 4. So.
Okay, Birdman was my number 2.
Okay,
So-
so the reason I think I put it in 4, honestly, my top 5 all could have been my number 1. They were all fantastic. Birdman, I think my only problem with it was that it was trying really hard to be like meta. It was kind of like waxing philosophical too often for me to.
I like that aspect. Like, did you ever hear about the alternate ending that they were gonna stick in?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been really meta if they stuck that in. But
It got a little too up there. Like, I thought it was amazing. It was hilarious. It was well done.
It was shot.
Yeah,
in the
way
take
it's shot is so
and
cool.
edited.
It looks like it's one take, and it's another story about the struggle with ego, and I liked it. I thought it was
Yeah.
good. I just feel like they were making points that people have already made before, but they were doing it in a way that we were supposed to like applaud them for.
I know. I like the whole thing with like even the drum score. It gives the film such this like
Oh, I love that.
brilliantly choreographed
Oh, it's so
rhythm.
great.
Just like every moment's timed perfectly.
Well,
and
can you imagine being one of the actors? What if you mess
their
up
interviews,
and
they did like 12-minute takes
Yeah.
of like literally just going through this theater, and the fact that they were able to get everything just perfectly timed.
Well, they didn't, because there was that one scene where
Where
Zach
it said
Galifianakis,
Steven Scorsese wrong.
or no, he says,
Steven Scorsese.
there was one part where he messed up his line, he flubbed his line, and he just started crying.
It kind of worked for the scene.
It was perfect. No, it was perfect, but I actually enjoyed that more than if he had done it correctly. It was so great.
The DVD of this movie came out yesterday.
It did?
Yeah.
Well, it
and
didn't
the
get to my
UPS
house yet.
deliver person. My
Didn't get to
package
my
was
house.
delayed. UPS didn't
Me
deliver
too.
to.
Did you pre-order it?
Yeah, I pre-ordered it.
I
and
pre-ordered it
on
3 months
Amazon,
ago.
Yeah, so did I. It says delayed, and hopefully it's coming today because I really want to watch it again. Just because it's my number 2 movie of the year. It was my number 1 movie up until like a couple weeks ago when I
Yeah.
saw a movie I'll talk about later.
Yeah.
So
So what was your 4?
my number 4 was a Gone Girl, David Fincher.
Didn't see it.
You didn't? I thought
No.
for some reason you did, but
I didn't.
It's just this, again with like the Foxcatcher. It's just this brilliantly paced dark story that also has this level of like almost social satire, making
Yeah.
fun of the media and this idea of varying storytellers and how opinions can shift and the fickle nature of the media, which is an element in Birdman, yes, but it's
Did
just-
you read the book?
Gone Girl, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like the book. I think that was why I was hesitant to see the
The
movie,
book
even though I
is a
love David
little
Fincher.
too housewifey, if you see it. Like, it's
Yeah.
made for that audience.
Like trying to be scandalous almost.
Yeah, but like the movie just fits perfectly into David Fincher's wheelhouse as a director.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, I like him a lot.
because
So.
and his cinematography of late has just been like brilliant because he shoots on red cameras,
Yeah.
so that's like 4K video.
Well,
That's like,
what's your
you know,
favorite of his?
My favorite of his is probably Zodiac,
I would agree. It would be Zodiac, Social Network.
which is also the one performance I like of Jake Gyllenhaal.
I was gonna say that. You don't like Jake Gyllenhaal, but you like that movie.
Yeah,
because it's a
that's
great
literally
movie.
the only time I've ever like liked Jake Gyllenhaal.
What about like Brokeback?
I didn't like Brokeback Mountain.
Okay, well, moving on. My number 3 was Whiplash.
My number 3 was Whiplash.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah,
It's so
like,
awesome.
What more can be said about this movie that hasn't already been said by like
Every
critic? Because
person.
this film was like almost universally loved. J.K. Simmons' performance, intense,
Oh,
loud,
it's
powerful.
amazing. Whiplash is amazing. I'm still mad that it's in theaters still because I'm waiting for the
comes out
DVD.
next week, 24th.
It was supposed to come out January 16th, the full year after it was released at Sundance, but it didn't get. It's not at my house yet because they keep pushing back the DVD release.
No, it is already set. I've pre-ordered it.
Yeah,
it
me
comes out the
too.
24th.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah. Well, and Whiplash. What else? The editing, the sound mixing, the
Yeah.
sound editing, the cinematography. It's just a brilliant, brilliant movie
So
that
great.
Damien Chazelle, who's the director.
He deserved more recognition
Did you
for
see
that.
Guy and Madeline on a park bench?
No, I
Okay,
did not.
that's the only other movie on his credit, and it's like they showed it at the school a couple years ago.
Yeah,
I
I
remember.
remember the Global Film Initiative did, right?
Like
they were
it's-
trying to get him to
It's
show up at the school.
okay. It's more of like a kind of like throwback to like Singing in the Rain type things. It's not great. But this film
And now it's Whiplash. That's,
but now Whiplash, like,
yeah.
he has 2 movies out, and like one of them is just great. I hope he doesn't end up becoming like Ben Zeitlin and just like never make a movie again.
That's what. Anyway.
Okay. Transcendence. Anyway.
My number 2 was Boyhood.
My number 2 was Birdman, as already talked. And just as a side note, these 2 are probably what's going up against for Best Picture this year.
They are, yeah,
Like,
definitely. I hope it's Boyhood.
Birdman,
although
like,
I'd be happy if it's Birdman.
has snuck atop Boyhood,
Yeah.
I think, in most people's view. Just because the awards Boyhood won are mainly critics' awards.
But also, Birdman is more accessible as just like a movie itself because it's funny, and Boyhood is 3
Yeah.
hours long, and it's sort of like watching your own life, which is what I liked about it because I like Richard Linklater.
See, my problem with Boyhood is it kind of succumbs to the gimmick of the fact that it was shot over 12 years. So that, like, take the 12 years out of it, you just have a movie about a boy.
No,
and-
not at all. Not at all. You have not a movie about a boy, a movie about growing up, and a movie that is
But like
very
coming of age
relatable.
stories with boys have already been told time and time again.
I know, but when I
Like,
was watching it, I related to it, and I'm a female who doesn't live in Texas, who doesn't, I don't know.
It just be kind of like a lesser 400 blows. Just you see a boy grow up. The original title was 12 Years, and that kind of makes more sense.
Yeah. Are you a Linklater fan, though?
I like work that he's done. I like this. I didn't love it. That's the thing. Like,
I loved it, but I also like pretty much anything he does.
Like, I feel like Slacker is an indie classic.
Yes. Oh my
the
gosh,
Before
yes.
trilogy, Before Midnight's probably the best thing I think he's
Before
done.
is so great.
Yeah.
And I could watch those all the time, but again, those are kind of just about life, and that's his style, and I like
Yeah.
them.
School of Rock, he did that.
School of Rock, that's a random one. Yeah.
No, I'm just thinking of movies that he's
Yeah,
done.
I know. I just forgot that he directed that.
Yeah, well, he's done a bunch of stuff with Jack Black. That's
Yeah,
why.
yeah.
Like Bernie.
Bernie. Oh my God.
I found Bernie at a Dollar Tree.
Is
That's
that
how
on
I own
Netflix?
It might be. I don't know.
Okay.
I own the DVD. That's how I've seen it so many times. Okay.
Yeah. Yours was Birdman, right?
Birdman, which we kind of already talked about. There isn't much to bring up.
Yeah, jazz drumming was a big theme
Jazz-
this year. Like,
Yeah.
heavily in the soundtrack of Birdman, and then the
The
entire
plot of
plot of Whiplash. Yeah. I thought that was cool. I'm okay with that.
Jazz drumming. I don't know. I don't play the drums, so I can't. Like going back to Whiplash for a
know.
second. My biggest point that I got out of that is that Mr. Rapucci might just be the best band teacher ever because he's not J.K. Simmons.
He doesn't throw chairs at you ever.
I've never
yeah,
had a chair
no.
thrown at me.
Not
ever
yet, no.
By Mr. Rapucci. And ultimately, I feel I like Whiplash more on a personal level than on a critic level, just because of my band experience of.
Oh, I agree too. I especially relate to that whole question of like, is a passion worth
Yeah.
succumbing to? And
Which is also a theme in Birdman
It
and
is,
Foxcatcher
yeah.
and everything. Might even get a chance for Frank to have that theme.
yeah, Frank definitely has
Yeah.
that theme. And what was your number 1?
My number 1 was Transformers 4: Age of Extinction. Just kidding, people. Although, Mark Wahlberg as a Texan.
All right.
Okay, no, on a serious note, my number 1 movie is A Most Violent Year, which like no one saw, I'd like to note.
I'd like to see it.
It's directed by J.C. Chandor, and it tells the story of 1980s New York at a point where it was the most crime-riddled it's ever been, and tells the story of Oscar Isaac, who plays an immigrant named Abel Morales, who is trying to buy this land for his heating oil company, but essentially he doesn't have the money. So the plot of him is going around asking people for loans, basically, and it's just like great. This throwback to like prestige filmmaking that's kind of dead now with the whole indie age.
I definitely want to see that because of Oscar Isaac.
Yeah, and Jessica Chastain's the other.
Yeah, she's great.
She basically plays Lady Macbeth
amazing.
in that movie.
Really,
Yeah.
I get that vibe. But also, he was in Inside Llewyn Davis last year.
My favorite movie of last year.
Oh, it was
Yeah.
definitely one of my favorites. It's so great. Not just because I love the Coen
Great.
brothers, but also because he's just, like, so good.
And he's in Drive, too.
He's in Drive. He's been in a bunch of other, like, indie stuff, but...
Yeah, and he's in Star Wars 7, too.
Yeah, he's going to be in Star Wars 7 with Domhnall Gleeson, who we were
Gleeson.
talking about earlier.
Yeah. And
which I'm excited about that.
Star Wars 7 definitely got a lot of random indie people to be in it.
It did. But yeah, I don't think
and Andy Serkis, he's in that. Sorry.
He is?
Yeah.
Really? I don't think, yeah. Have any of those people been in bad movies?
Well, Andy Serkis, you literally just
right.
spent a whole point
Dawn
yelling.
of the Planet of the Apes. The biggest joke.
We may have to make a full episode of that because...
Well, there's going to be a pie thrown about that. Anyway,
Okay.
So my number one was Grand Budapest Hotel, directed by Wes Anderson and written by him.
And another guy. There was a
Well,
co-writer.
co-wrote the story, but I think that it is flawless in every aspect. It's beautiful. It's well written. It's well acted. The soundtrack is great because Alexander Desplat, obviously. It's just flawless.
Yeah, it's definitely a good movie.
Okay.
I love Wes Anderson, and pretty much every film he's made I've thought has been a good movie. Even Life Aquatic, which is pretty hated by a lot of people.
I love that movie.
But
Even Darjeeling Limited, I loved.
Darjeeling Limited might be the one I don't like. But the thing about what I didn't like about Grand Budapest is just Wes Anderson has kind of become, his films feel like dollhouses, like really well-made dollhouses.
Because they're miniatures, like the...
No, it's not even that, but like the actors do these like perfectly posed motions and do these exact blocking.
I like it.
If you look at his earlier films, his best two films, Rushmore and Royal Tenenbaums, those films are like chaotic. They're wild. People actually like act real in them.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, now, like, the reason I didn't like Grand Budapest, it felt stilted and kind of cold almost.
I think that you can tell that with Wes Anderson, when he makes a movie, he gets every shot exactly how he pictures it in his head. And that's what I loved about this movie so much. It was like being in his brain.
He definitely like fits the auteur theory as a filmmaker.
Yeah, and it's just so well put together, and I could watch it on loop over and over.
So that was our top 10 list. Make sure to vote in the poll. The loser gets a